All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the playbook that public health experts use all over the world to fight disease. It's a really smart, surprisingly simple framework that affects everything from our own daily habits to huge nationwide health programs.
So let's just start with a massive question, one that affects every single one of us. When it comes to sickness and disease, what is the absolute best way to fight it? Are we talking about cutting-edge surgery, super advanced drugs?
Well, the most powerful answer is actually the simplest. The best way to fight a disease is to stop it before it ever gets a foothold. That one idea, right there, is the bedrock of modern public health.
And that idea is at the heart of what experts call the three-tiered playbook. It's the official strategy that organizes all of our prevention efforts into a really clear and logical framework.
The whole playbook is built on 3 levels of defense: primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. Each one represents a totally different stage in the fight, so let's break them down.
First up, you've got primary prevention. This is the ultimate proactive move. The whole goal here is to stop a disease from ever even starting. Think about it like this. It's the regular maintenance for your car. You get oil changes and checkups not because your car is broken, but to keep it from ever breaking down to begin with. Okay, so what if something slips past that first line of defense? That's where we get to secondary prevention. Now, the goal is all about early detection, finding a problem before you even have symptoms so you can stop it or at least slow it way down. In our car analogy, this is your check engine light. It's that crucial warning that lets you fix a small issue before it turns into a complete disaster on the side of the highway. And that brings us to the third tier, tertiary prevention. This is what happens once a disease is already here, it's been diagnosed. The focus totally shifts. Now it's all about managing the condition, trying to prevent any further complications, and really just improving a person's quality of life. In the car world, this is the repair shop. The breakdown already happened, and the job now is to fix the damage and get that car running safely again.
All right, so that's the theory, right? But what does this playbook actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at prevention in action and see how these tiers get put to work against some of our biggest chronic diseases. And this brings up a really critical question, not just for health officials, but for all of us. When you've got limited time, limited money, limited resources, where do you focus? Which one of these tiers truly gives you the most bang for your buck, both for our health and for our wallets?
To figure that out, experts really measure effectiveness in 2 key ways. On one hand, you have health outcomes. Does a strategy actually work? Does it lower the number of new cases, reduce how sick people get, or bring down death rates? Then, on the other hand, you've got the economic impact. Is it actually cheaper to prevent the disease in the first place than it is to treat it after the fact? It's always this balance between saving lives and, well, saving money.
Now just take a look at this breakdown. You can see exactly how this playbook gets customized. For something like heart disease, primary prevention, lifestyle stuff is huge. But for colorectal cancer, you see a major focus on secondary prevention, things like colonoscopies. And for type 2 diabetes, there are strong plays in all 3 tiers, from managing weight to controlling blood sugar. The takeaway is that every disease needs its own unique game plan.
So with all that in mind, let's try to answer our question. Which tier is the most valuable? It's time to dig into the evidence and see if we can declare a winner.
Okay, let's start with a big one, cardiovascular disease, which is a leading cause of premature death. And here the answer is just crystal clear. The biggest impact, by far, comes from primary prevention. And why is that? Well, it's because those proactive lifestyle changes, eating well, moving more, not smoking, and managing things like high blood pressure, they don't just treat the disease, they stop it from ever happening. This approach just massively cuts down on the number of people who get heart disease at all, which, as you can imagine, saves an incredible number of lives and a ton of money.
But, and this is a huge but, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer. Let's switch gears to another major illness, breast cancer. When we look at this case, the story flips. The biggest impact here comes from secondary prevention. For many cancers, early detection is an absolute game changer. It's that simple. Regular screenings, like mammograms, can spot cancer at a much earlier stage when it's way more treatable. And this doesn't just mean less aggressive and expensive treatments down the road. It has a direct, profound effect on dramatically increasing survival rates.
So if we zoom out again and we look at the big picture, especially through a purely economic lens, the data generally points in one direction. Primary prevention tends to give you the highest return on your investment. It's almost always going to be cheaper to stop a disease before it starts.
But you knew there was a but coming, right? Cost isn't the only thing that matters, not by a long shot. As the research shows so clearly, when you're talking about diseases like cancer, the power of secondary prevention to literally save lives through early detection is just undeniable. It has a massive impact on bringing down mortality rates.
And all of this brings us to the real takeaway. We started this whole thing by trying to pick a winner, by asking which tier is the best. But what the evidence shows us is that that's probably the wrong question to be asking. It's not about picking just one.
The real winning strategy, the one that public health is always aiming for, is a smart, integrated mix of all three tiers. It's about using primary prevention wherever we can, using secondary prevention for that critical early detection, and of course, using tertiary prevention to help people who are already living with a condition. The secret sauce is tailoring that specific blend to each unique disease. So the playbook is out there, it's clear, the evidence is in. We know that a combined three-tiered approach is our most powerful weapon against disease, which leaves us all with one last, really crucial question to think about. Who is responsible for putting this playbook into action? Is it up to us as individuals? Is it doctors, the government, or is it all of us together? That's something to chew on. Thanks for tuning into The Explainer.